society. Last week we explored the complex interaction between media and the social world and come to the understanding that the media doesn't just produce messages, right? And it's not just a transparent window on the world. It's much more complex than that, which is why the authors titled their book Media/Society, because you really can't separate those two in our modern experience. Okay? This week, we explore the structure and the politics of the mass media and the institutions that control the media and control information. Right? Now you have to think about in the United States, mass media is fundamentally commercially funded media, right? And that has profound implications. Okay? The media is really a service to advertisers. That's how you have to think of it in our modern media landscape. Okay? The corporate control of media is very profound, has a profound impact, but it's vastly underestimated. Okay? Now think about conversations that we have, say, about bias. Okay? Bias is a very subjective term. It's not very useful for analysis. Right? For example, thinking about whether the media is liberal or conservative, okay, those lead us down a rabbit hole and not very constructive conversations. What you really have to think about is that the media are comprised of vast institutions that have a say in what we see on the media, and that's really how you have to think about it in terms of being a critical media scholar. Don't think about media in terms of biases, but think about who owns the media and the purposes for what you see in that media, right? For the discussion this week, you're going to be watching a documentary called Merchants of Cool. Make sure you watch that before you engage in the discussion. It'll make the discussion prompt make a lot more sense. Okay. Also keep in mind that that documentary was made almost 20 years ago, before the impact of social media. And if you notice the teenagers in the film, they're not holding smartphones. Okay, they weren't really a factor back then. So think about that as you're bringing that discussion forward into our own time. Okay, I just want to say one word about the critical thinking assignment. There's a brief description, video description in the lecture about that. I don't need to say much more about that, except just one thing: make sure you're not using second person when you're doing your critical analysis. Second person like you, we, our, us. Okay, try to avoid that because that tends to introduce your own personal biases into your critical thinking. You want to be as objective as possible. So make sure you're using third person objective address, and that keeps you, gives you some critical distance to what you're analyzing. Okay. Get back to me if you had any questions about this week, and you all have a wonderful week.